Are you a new manager? Are you new to the role of leadership and management? Have you recently been promoted to a manager? Are you by chance leading a team of remote employees and you're just not sure how to effectively and successfully lead them so they don't quit? Let's talk about it. I'm Erin Lydy, founder of Risen Path Consulting, where I help leaders improve employee engagement and workplace culture. There's been a lot of discussion around organizations requiring their employees to return to the office. And a lot of employees are sharing their frustrations with that. And they are indicating on social media and LinkedIn that they are ready to look for other work. Look for other work that will meet their needs, where they can offer their skills and talents to an organization that allows remote work. Now, if you're new to leadership, if you're new to management, and you have a team of remote employees, let's talk about how you can successfully lead them so they don't quit. The 4 things to keep in mind when leading remote teams: connect, communicate, clarify expectations, and celebrate. Let's dive into connect. Make sure you're connecting with all your employees on a regular basis, one-on-one. Have those regularly scheduled one-on-one meetings already on your calendar. Now, keep in mind, during your one-on-ones, you are connecting to the whole person. You're not just talking about work or projects or goals or results or deadlines. You definitely are talking about that, but you want to make sure that you are also talking about the whole person. You're getting to know them on a personal level. This is where their disc style can come into play. You can have a good idea based on their disc style at what point in the conversation you actually should be talking about that. If they're an S style, you want to talk about that first. You want to address their heart and their emotions first. If they're a D style, they're all about results. So talk about the results first. So interesting ways to communicate with different styles. And I have a whole series on those different styles that you can tune into to get additional information on. So connect with them on a regular basis during your one-on-one meetings and make sure you're connecting with the whole person. Now, one quick tip during your one-on-one meetings is to listen and listen empathetically and make sure all of your distractions are out of the way. Don't have your dings going off on your computer. Close your computer. Sit at a different table in your office if you can. Turn your phone down, turn your phone off, and make sure everybody is clear of those distractions. Make sure you don't reschedule and cancel your one-on-ones frequently. The occasional reschedule or cancel is totally fine. We know things come up and things happen. But when you're doing it on a regular basis and it's happening all the time, it sends a message that your team member is not as important. If the time doesn't work out, just find a different time that does work out. But make sure you are sensitive and cognizant of how often you are potentially rescheduling those meetings, because it sends that message that they might not be important. So make sure you keep them a priority and you have those healthy, constructive, full of information one-on-one meetings on a regular basis. If you're not sure what questions to ask during a one-on-one, I actually have a free guide for you. So check out the website, drop me your email, and you'll show up in your email box that one-on-one or that free guide on what questions to ask during a one-on-one meeting with a team member. So the first thing was connect. The next one is communicate. You cannot over-communicate, especially when you have remote employees. You want to make sure you're staying in touch with them in all different ways and using all the tools that are available to you that makes sense for the type of communication you're doing. I recently shared about the app called Gather, gather.com. It's a really cute app where you have little avatars of your team members, and when they have a meeting, a virtual meeting, so they're all going to show up on Zoom or Teams, whatever technology you're using, but the little avatar walks to the conference room on your computer screen, and then as soon as they get to the conference room, their camera opens up and they're there, but they still have their little avatars. And I've talked to people who have used this and they absolutely love it. It's interactive, it's fun, and it's just a really cute way to bring the real life setting to a virtual setting. So check that out. Make sure you're using the tools appropriately. Email obviously is important when you're communicating really important things, maybe changes to a project or milestones or updates. Your quick Slack or text messages or anything like that, those are just like quick notifications. So make sure you're using email and text and Slack and all of that appropriately. And then, of course, hop on those video calls so you can have a more in-depth, more engaging conversation. And then clear expectations. Make sure you're setting the clear expectations, and you're also clarifying. You're giving room for your team members to clarify their role and ask questions, ask specific questions. I'm a fan of agreements. So when you're having these conversations and you're talking about expectations, clarifying the expectations, agreeing on the results, you end with the agreement. So let's agree that we will have this finished by this date. Are we in agreement on that? So it's okay to continuously repeat that as well. Are we in agreement that you're going to do this and I'm going to do this, and we're going to have it done by this date? And then agree if something changes, you communicate that quickly. And I'm just a huge fan of having those agreements in place when it comes to being able to set clear expectations, but also allowing them to clarify the roles, the expectations, the results, the timelines, all of that plays into their daily work. And finally, celebrate. Make sure you're celebrating those wins, the little wins, the big wins, all the wins. That is so important, especially for people who are working remotely, to feel connected and to feel appreciated. There's a series on appreciation in the workplace. Everybody has an appreciation language, so make sure you're celebrating in the style of one's language. Celebration is so important. People tend to stay with organizations where they feel connected, they feel celebrated, and they feel like they're adding value to the mission, to the purpose. So when you're a manager leading remote employees, these are the things to stay in touch with. These are the things to remind yourself on how you can stay connected to your team, connect with them, celebrate, make sure you're clarifying those expectations, and then communicating often. So I hope this was helpful. As a reminder, you can grab that freebie on questions to ask during one-on-one meetings to make sure you are talking to the whole person and understanding everyone on your team, not just from a work perspective, but from a personal perspective as well. I hope this was helpful. Like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more content around employee engagement and workplace culture.